Canadian flag delusional syndrome is spreading these days, folks. Case in point, the Sunderland Public School in Sunderland, Ontario, recently sent home a permission slip to parents, a permission slip that left many parents absolutely baffled. This was not a permission slip regarding students going on a field trip or taking part in a school dance. Rather, the local Lions Club in Sunderland thought it would be a nice gesture to give the grade 1 students a Canadian flag. Alas, these days, no good deed goes unpunished, it would seem. Because in advance of the free flags being handed out, the school sent out letters to parents to see if it was, okay to distribute this material to the youngsters. No, I'm not making this up. Were the Lions handing out Canadian flags or pornography? Or is our red and white symbol tantamount to porn in certain circles these days? Well, here's what Principal Jennifer Fisher said in her bizarre letter to parents. Quote, "On June 28th, our grade 1 students will have the opportunity to meet with a member of the Sunderland Lions Club to learn a little about the history of Canada and why we celebrate Canada Day. Students will also have the opportunity to receive a Canadian flag from the Sunderland Lions Club. If you prefer that your child does not receive a Canadian flag, please return the bottom portion of this letter to the school prior to June 28. If you do not return the form, your child will receive a flag," end quote. Principal Fisher then noted to parents that if they had, quote, "concerns about the presentation or the flag," end quote, then they could contact their child's teacher or the office. Now, I reached out to Principal Fisher, but was told she was in a meeting. But check out my brief conversation with the nice receptionist at Sunderland School. It looks like the principal's letter really stirred up a hornet's nest.
Sunderland Public School.
Yes, good morning. Can I speak to Jennifer Fisher, please?
She's in a meeting at the moment. Can I take a message?
Oh, sure. My name is David Menzies, and I'm with Rebel News in Toronto, and I'm just calling her about this Canada flag permission form.
Oh, okay. You can call the board office in regards to it.
Oh, was this a board decision?
Well, no, it was from her, but she's not taking the calls.
Oh, that's interesting. Why would she put out a permission form, but I would have to direct my calls to the board that had nothing to do with this?
I don't know. I've just been getting a lot of calls and a lot of angry people and yelling at me and...
Oh, no, I'm not going to yell at you, ma'am.
No, I know. I can already tell you're not going to yell because you're very calm. But believe me, the amount of calls that I have taken and the amount of angry citizens that are out there and the yelling and the swearing that I'm hearing from the other end is... I just am tired of taking them, so I'm just going to direct them to the board office now.
You know what? I'm very sorry you're getting verbally abused. I know it's not your decision, so...
I hadn't. That's the thing. I had nothing to do with it.
But do you know why the permission is being asked in the first place? I mean...
I do not understand that. I don't.
Okay, yeah. And so I guess because of the amount of angry people, this is why Ms. Fisher isn't taking calls on this issue, or?
I'm going to assume that's the reason why. So like I said, she's also said you can voice your concerns at our website, sunderlandps@ddsb.ca.
Wow. I suspect Principal Fisher is not in a meeting, but rather she's curled up in the fetal position in the staff lounge these days. Nevertheless, I did reach out to the Durham District School Board. And according to spokeswoman Rachel Matheson, the ostensible policy reason for the permission slip was to essentially be environmentally friendly and to avoid offending Indigenous people. Says Matheson, quote, "Schools don't often distribute Canadian flags, and we wanted to ensure that we weren't wasteful in terms of families already having one or not intending to make use of them. We also recognize that for some Indigenous families, the Canadian flag may represent something else in terms of their relationship, and that we are being respectful of their rights as we support reconciliation efforts. The letter home was simply designed to provide choice to students and families in the class about receiving the flag after a presentation from a member of the Lions Club about why we celebrate Canada Day, and was in no way intended to diminish the importance of our national flag or cause harm, end quote. Wow. You know, I never thought I'd see this, folks. This idea of the Canadian flag in Canada in 2022, that it could somehow be deemed both environmentally unfriendly and politically incorrect. And you know something? I wonder if the Durham District School Board sends out permission slips if its schools are staging, drag queen story times. Nah, what am I thinking? That might come across as, being homophobic or transphobic or biphobic or some sort of phobia. So, hey kids, sit right back and check out a striptease show courtesy of a fake female. Nothing wrong about that. And hey, maybe Kawartha Dairy would like to cater such events. And in the meantime, let's shield the kids' precious eyes from that vulgar red and white piece of fabric known as the flag of Canada. Folks, are we all collectively trapped in a nightmare right now? Is the alarm bell going to ring any second now? And we're all going to finally wake up and realize that the events of recent weeks are akin to season 9 of Dallas. You know, that it was all a bad dream, this whole business of Bobby dying in season 8. Or are we indeed awake? And this is indeed the new perverse reality that we are living in. That Canadian flags are somehow offensive to some people, maybe, perhaps. And another thing, what Miss Somerville allegedly said about the Canadian flag being tainted these days, isn't the polar opposite the truth? At other trucker protests and at other freedom rallies the world over, from the United States to India and Australia, the Canadian flag is proudly on display. It's an acknowledgement of how Canadian truckers and their supporters stood up when their democratic rights were being threatened. Yet, here in our great dominion, the maple leaf is deemed to be something that we need to apologize for, that we need to keep in the closet. Just think of the logic process at play here. The Canadian flag represents freedom, yet for the progressives that champion big government and big tech and big lockdowns, freedom is the new F word?
And in Canada, Pity.
Don't know about you folks, but it seems that life in Canada under the Justin Jugmeat regime is increasingly resembling a South Park episode. What a pity indeed.
That was an excerpt from my daily TV-style show called The Ezra Levant Show. Each weekday, I do a monologue on the news of the day, then I interview a fascinating guest. I read some fan mail or hate mail, depends on which I like more, and we end with a video of the day. You can get it all at rebelnewsplus.com.